Hello. Welcome, Dr. Shiny Tarot. If you would like a reading, please go ahead and just choose whichever reading you would like to get. I made a crude little menu here. Set the Let me raise the camera up a little bit. Hello, hello. How are you? Get my decks out here. Trying something different today. I have a menu here I've made. So if you would like a reading, please choose from that list. Get this camera. I have to get a tripod. This is insufferable. All right, let's do it like this. We'll line the decks up over on this side. You can't see. Like, you can't see anything, or... Well, I kind of didn't think this menu would really work out anyway. So I may just kind of tell people what's available and make something a little bit more professional for next time. So, are you saying you would like the general reading? Essentially, I got 3 different kinds of readings I'm going to offer here. I'm going to do love readings, career, and general readings. A love reading. Okay. Now, there are all of the decks. This camera is a little tilted still. So, go ahead and choose whichever deck you would like to use. This first one. All right. And this one is the Joie de Vivre by Paulina Cassidy. It's my oldest deck, and the deck that I first learned the tarot on. And if you're first starting out with reading for yourself, I really highly recommend this deck. It is kind of designed more for children, so the artwork is a little bit more dreamy and positive. And it's just a little bit more whimsical and has a friendlier energy to it, which is really great. Whoa, got a bunch of them trying to jump out there. It's really great when you're first starting because your mind, if it's not used to the kind of messages that the tarot can bring you, can kind of go to a dark place fairly easily if you're reading for yourself and you have like some scary cards. I've seen some that are kind of brutal. So I definitely recommend, at least for a beginner, to go for something a little bit more whimsical like these. So you wanted to love reading. So the way that we do this, it's a 5-card spread. I hope I have enough room here to do it. This is going to represent your role in the relationship. This card is going to represent your partner's role in the relationship. And then we're going to do, yeah, I am going to have to kind of move this camera up a little bit further, readjust so I can fit everything in here. Bear with me just one second. Oh, you're single. Okay, so in the case of, that's fine. In the case of being single, when I say your role and your partner, this is your prospective partner. This is the person who is coming your way in the future. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be in a relationship right now. This is just your significant other to be. So this card right here represents the past, what's going on for you in your past relationships or past endeavors. This one is the present, and this one is the future. And geez, it is still hard to fit all these in here, so we're going to do it like this. Okay. So what you have for your role is this 9 of Wands in the reverse. This is a little bit of like a guarded energy. So it suggests that there's been like some difficulties that have left you maybe just like a little bit scarred. Some things that you didn't exactly enjoy going through. Some hard times, and it's left you maybe feeling a little bit, so normally that 9 of Wands in the upright, he has like, he's got a sense of bravery, but he also is like a little bit closed off, a little bit guarded. So in the reverse here, it could be that like you're not really branching, or not branching out, but you're not reaching out enough or taking enough risks. You're kind of feeling like you don't want to put yourself out there as much as you really should to find this relationship, right? So your partner's role here is this, yes, Destiny, you may absolutely get a reading. I will add you to the list for next. Now, the 10 of Coins is financial, very like financial success. This is kind of the end all be all of the coins. So this is, everything is going perfectly well. So the role of this person in the relationship, this person is going to bring some financial stability to you. This person is going to have a good career and be able to support you very easily. And that's not to say that you won't also have your own career, but it's just to say that there will be a great deal of financial success from that partner. Yes, Sherpa, you may as well be added. Now, for the past, you have that 8 of Swords, and that 8 of Swords is kind of like being trapped by your own thoughts. So it could be that, kind of with this 9 of Wands energy, this guarded energy, there's been kind of like some thoughts of yourself that like you can't do things, or that things have to go a certain way. It can also be like a lack of self-confidence. It can be like not feeling yourself quite as much as you normally would, which has maybe led you not to find people or things like that when you should have. But what we have in the present moving forward is a much, much healthier relationship with yourself. And this, the 2 of Cups in a love spread is kind of like the best thing you could possibly hope for. I mean, even the Lovers to me is not as good of an indicator in a love spread as the Two of Cups. This is a really, really harmonious energy, balanced energy. And being in your present, and you said you are still single, what that to me indicates is that you first and foremost have you're getting this harmony within yourself, which is what kind of manifests it into the external. So I feel like it is very close. It's very much on its way, because this indicates like a really good flow of emotion, and that there is, you're ready for it, you're looking for it, and it is, it's at a point where it's able to manifest into the world around you, because I think you've kind of made it through some of these lessons, some of these issues, and you're ready to move on, you know. So what we have for the future is this King of Cups in the reverse. And King of Cups is somebody else who is very in touch with his emotions. And in the reverse here, it could just be, you know, I see that this person here has a little bit of a, I don't want to say workaholic, that's probably too strong, because it's really more of just this person is probably determined and very much about their career. So you may find some frustration about, like, they might feel a little more distant than you want, and that would be like the primary difficulty that you would have in that kind of a relationship, is that they may have a little bit more trouble opening up with their emotions. But you know, for a lot of men, that's a lot to demand of them anyway. We're kind of culturally conditioned to keep ourselves closed off and to not really reveal our emotions. So I don't see this as like a negative omen or anything. I think that it really just means that you know, that's going to be kind of your primary gripe. I think is the emotional unavailability. But you know, that's just another part of life to navigate, and I think it'll probably turn out well for you. That Two of Cups right there is a really, really great energy. So it's important to remember that there's always going to be some difficulties. There's always going to be some issues. People like to think that you can have this like perfect relationship where nothing goes wrong, but it's really, it's never like that. There's always struggles for you to work through. So if this, in this case, is the struggles that you have to work through, it's a pretty good scenario. It's pretty great. And like I said, having that Two of Cups in there is a very encouraging symbol of working together, collaboration, and synergy and all that. So how does that feel? Yes, Grace, you may be added. So I've got Destiny, Sherpa, and Grace. You're very welcome. So I'm doing love readings, career readings, and general readings. So first of all, Destiny, if you are still here, which one would you like? So how does Keegan feel about me? So I'll do that as a love. Yeah. So which of the decks would you like me to draw from? Okay. All right. This one is a little bit harder to shuffle because it's very thick. But as long as I get one of those good reversal shuffles in there, it's usually okay. So we'll do some of these. Woo! Okay, that one jumped out. So we're gonna bring that one in. So for the love reading, this is a 5-card spread. This will be, and let me move these other decks out of here a little bit. So this will be your role. This one will be your partner's role. And this is the past, present, and future. Okay. So, and again, this doesn't have to be somebody that you're currently in a relationship with. I don't know if you are or not, but this is just you and the person who you have in mind, and kind of like what you bring to the table, and then the past, present, and future for the interaction between you. So your energy here is this 4 of Wands. This is like a happy home energy. This is what you, yeah, not officially dating. Yeah. So this is a happy home energy. This suggests that there's like, there's a solid foundation on your end, at least, where you bring some stability and some common sense. Oh, well, I bring a kitty. So you bring some common sense to the situation. You have some structure in the way that you do things. You're probably pretty good at keeping up with the house and things like that. But in general, it's important for you to have like a happy home environment. And what the partner brings to it is this Fool energy. So this is actually, first of all, don't think that the Fool is like a negative thing. A lot of people, in this culture, when we call someone a fool, we tend to think that that's like an insult. Don't think of it that way at all. The Fool is actually, it's kind of like faith. It's like going out on a limb, and there's almost always like somebody coming off of a cliff almost, but they don't really care. They have faith that the universe is going to catch them and protect them and all that. So there's this hopefulness and real vitality and new beginnings, so there is an opportunity here for you to just experience all kinds of new aspects of life through this person. They have a novel and happy energy. So good match as far as that compatibility goes. Now for the past, you got this Page of Swords in the reverse. So that can mean kind of rushing into things a little bit, or going too fast, or kind of like feeling like you need to, establish the boundaries of the relationship and everything, or like where the relationship is going a little too quickly. So that can be a little bit of a problem just in the realm of attraction. So it's like, sometimes people have, I don't know what it is. It's this like subconscious thing where if they feel like you're trying to define the relationship, it kind of, it shoots up some sort of a red flag. And I don't, to be honest with you, I never really understood why, because I was the type of person who viewed dating as like a trial for a more serious type of a relationship. I was looking for a partner, but some people, I guess, are not really looking for a partner, or not. They don't set out looking for a partner. They want the situation to evolve there naturally, if it is going to evolve there. And I guess that's just personal preference, I guess that's just how some people like it. But in any case, this Princess of Swords means, and this could apply to either or both of you. I try to find ways in which it applies to both of you, but it can mean kind of rushing into a situation a little too quickly. So present is this Magician in the reverse. So what I take that to mean is that, like, you have the ability to make this happen, but you're kind of like not pulling the trigger, sort of. You're kind of like, all the pieces are there. With the Magician, there's always, all of the elements are present in the card. And this is very simple artwork, so it's not quite so much on this, but there's usually coins, swords, wands, and cups on the same table there. So the Magician has like everything he needs, and it's just a matter of sort of like willing it into existence, manifesting it. So but in the reverse here, there's a resistance to that. So it's like, you've got everything that you need, everything's going pretty well, things could happen, but you're kind of pulling back, perhaps like kind of waiting on them to reveal themselves a little bit more or to come at you. But there is an opportunity here for you to sort of make a move, I think, yourself, or if not to make a strong move, to at least find a way of showing how you feel, and that has a tendency to propel the situation forward. In the future is this star energy. So the way that I take that, I mean, so the Fool and the Star to me have a very kind of similar feel to it. So to me, this means that I feel like he has some feelings for you, and that he may reciprocate. He's likely to, if you make some sort of a move. And the reason I see that is because in the future here, that star energy is like a lot of faith in the universe. So you've brought that into your future through this sort of dynamic. So it seems like a good match, a good pair, and it seems like bringing that sort of hopeful energy into your future means that this person's probably got something for you there. So I would, like I said, if not a big drastic move, because I do see this cat is going to ruin all the decks. That's okay. That's what cats are for. Come on, get down. But anyway, so I do see how that rushing in has possibly like not worked in your favor or his favor in the past. So I understand that, but there are subtle ways for you to drop hints or to make your interest evident and known, if that makes sense. So how does that apply? Pretty good? Good. Glad you enjoyed that. Yes, Talissa, I'm going to say, Talissa, you may be added. Sherp and D, yes, you may also. Sherpa was next. So, yes. Would you like a love, career, or general reading? Love. Okay. And which deck would you like to pick? The second one. Okay. So you said you had a question? What was that question? Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do this love reading, and we'll kind of get to what he thinks. All right. So this first card is you. This one is the person that you have in mind, the partner. This is some information about the past. This is the present. And this is the future. Okay, so with you, with this Ten of Swords here, this is kind of, does he want? Okay, so this Ten of Swords here is some anxiety. There is a little bit of this person kind of, this is a sad looking card, isn't it? He's got all these swords sticking out of his back. He feels defeated. No, Grace, you did not miss your turn. You are next. And then it'll be D and then Talissa. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but yeah, Grace, you will be next. Anyway, so this is like a little bit of a feeling of defeat. Something kind of didn't really go very well. And it's possible that you're, feeling down on yourself a little bit, or anxious or worried that somebody doesn't care about you or doesn't like you. I don't think that is necessary energy to carry into this. So you might end up like kind of having to get over that before your next like really successful relationship. But I don't know that for sure, but it's just kind of a self-inflicted energy with this card. But there's always this opportunity. There's always a bright side to this. There's this opportunity for you to look up and see the brighter side of things and focus on the positive, focus on moving forward. And there's always that sort of way out of what seems like a darker situation here. What you have for your counterpart is this Page of Swords in the reverse. Page of Swords is somebody who is like they're optimistic, they're happy, and they can be very like witty and quick, but sometimes they like rush. They're kind of almost like a moth, they're like, or a butterfly. They're all over the place sometimes, and not extremely focused, but they are, like I said, witty and quick to jump into a situation. In the reverse here, though, that kind of it takes a little bit of a turn to being a little bit more hesitant to act, hesitant to move. So to me, what that kind of suggests is that this person may be a little bit resistant to a relationship at the current time. And I'm not necessarily saying that resistant to a relationship with you. It could be that he's just like in general got a little bit of a hesitance to going into a relationship. It could be anything. It could be that he doesn't feel like he's financially sound enough, or he's like more focused on his career at this point, or something like that. It's not necessarily a permanent thing, because the Page of Swords indicates that there really is a potential there, but it seems like there's like a temporary something in the way. Something is kind of a little bit off, and it could be that he's waiting to see something from you, which is that like more optimistic or self-confident moving forward, and not feeling like you need him, right? So that could be what he's looking for, to kind of indicate that he wants that to be his direction. Now, in the past, I see this Four of Pentacles here. So this is like clinging to the money, clinging to wealth. So, that might have something to do with this. It could be that this person has kind of like been really, really worried about his money. Hey, there you go. How about that? How are you doing? Wonderful to see you. So the Four of Pentacles here is just indicating a little bit of clinging to that financial wealth, that money. So that could be what's kind of got this person bothered. They maybe not are not going into things full force, because they're trying to be a little bit more reserved with their money. The current situation, the present here, the Knight of Swords, is feeling a little bit more active, feeling a little bit more like he wants to go do things, or you want to go do things. There's this I try to see this as energy that you're both sharing. So this is a a little bit more movement, and that's why I say there is quite a bit of potential here, but it's going to require you to kind of play the situation a little bit, because this Knight of Swords invites you to make a decision, make a move, but there is that resistance coming from this side of things. So it's going to take you a little bit of effort, I think, to make this work. What you have in the near future here is the Eight of Swords in the reverse. So that kind of, to me, seems like a resolution for your situation where you're feeling kind of like defeated and all that. This Eight of Swords is like coming out of that mentality and realizing that there's a way forward, realizing that you can sort of solve your problems, that there's a way out. So to me, it seems like there is some positive potential for this, but there's also going to be, near-term resistance. And I think like that resistance is in the process now of like loosening up, but it's just still going to take a little bit of time, because whatever these issues were had kind of caused this partner to be a little bit more reserved or resistant. Does that make sense? Good. So Grace was next, I believe. And then D. Oh, Talissa. Was Talissa still here? Let me see. Looks like Talissa left, so. Oh, there you are. So, okay. So, yeah, it was Sherpa, then Grace, then Talissa, and then D. I'm sorry. And Tamara, yes, you may also be added to the list. Well, Grace, let's do a general reading. I haven't done one of these, and they tend to be a little bit more accurate, I think. So, would you like to pick a deck? The last one. This exceptionally difficult to shuffle deck. It's all right. I'm never one to shy from a challenge. Oh, there we go. Look at that. We did it. Oh, it's no problem, dude. Please don't apologize. And look how pretty it is on the side. Yes, D. It was Talissa asked right before you did, and then you are next, D. And then it's Tamara. Okay, so for your general reading, we have your situation and the crossing or influencing. Then this is what's moving away. This is what's moving toward you. Let me get these out of the way. This one is the foundation or subconscious. And I'll show them to you. Don't worry about them not being visible. Kind of move them over to the side like this. And then finally, I do one more here for your advice. Okay. So situation is this Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is often called the wish card. So very fitting considering you asked me to pick a reading for you. I think there's a lot of positivity coming your way. There's an ability for you to really get something that you want. And I would go ahead and just advise you right now, think about a wish. Think about if you could have anything right now, what would it be? Think about that. Because this reading right here is extremely positive for that. You have the star influencing you. Again, when you wish upon a star. So yeah, the star is here for you. It's there's a lot of faith that you have that is definitely in the process of being rewarded. There's a lot of flow state positive energy going on with you right now. And that's really cool. That's really good. Now you're moving away from this Ace of Cups, and that Ace of Cups is a sort of like a new emotion or something. So in the recent past, there was something new that you were experiencing that, I don't know if it was pleasant or not pleasant, but for whatever reason, you're kind of leaving that behind. You're kind of leaving that feeling, or it may be some kind of frustration or something, but you're leaving that behind and you're coming into a much brighter place, a much more hopeful and trusting, faithful place, right? Now, what you're moving toward here is this Five of Pentacles in the reverse. Now, Five of Pentacles upright is generally feeling like there's no one to help you, that you're down and out, and that you need some charity, but you don't really see it. You don't see your help around you. But in the reverse, it's kind of coming out of that energy, and it's kind of realizing that there is help around you. There's inspiration, there's assistance, opportunity. Those things are around you if you just sort of reach out for them. And you're kind of moving toward a place where you're understanding that, there is that you don't have to do it all yourself. You can't do it all yourself. You've got to have help. So good direction there that you're moving in as well. Now, the foundation or the subconscious, you have this Eight of Cups. So this one's a little bit harder for me to read here, but the Eight of Cups in general is kind of like withdrawal, or kind of shying away from things, or just kind of getting fed up with things and throwing your hands up and like saying, well, whatever. So I don't know if this means that you have been doing this a little too much, or if it means that just through this process here, you have kind of thrown your hands up and a curious thing has happened, and you figured out that like you've let go of a whole lot of unnecessary stress and just kind of let go. And that may be what's kind of caused this really positive, wishful energy, this really good, hopeful energy. That may be what's brought this situation about. That's probably more what it is. But on your mind here is the crowning thoughts. This is the Ace of Wands. This, and in the reverse, this indicates that you're thinking about like a project or something new, something to do, but it's like the timing is not quite right. Whenever I see this card in the reverse, literally me, yeah, whenever I see this card in the reverse, what it kind of indicates strongly is timing. Timing is everything, which means it's not so much that you're like having the wrong ideas, or that you your goals have not been good goals, but it's just really that timing has been a factor, and things can work out. You may have even had the right ideas or done the right thing. It just may have been kind of the wrong time. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about in your conscious mind here, is that there may be a feeling that things didn't work out because of timing. That's what I'm getting at. Now, so your advice card here is this Ten of Swords in the reverse. So Ten of Swords in reverse here is resisting so your advice is to resist this victim mentality, resist this idea that things are outside your control, because even though you can't necessarily control what happens to you, you can always control how you feel about it, or how you react to it, especially how you react to it. So, I see, I've heard that, like, with stress, your reaction to stress, or how well you do, how successful you are, has a lot to do with the way that you view stress. Some people think that stress is kind of like breaking them down, it's grinding them down, and they don't do well with stress. But if you view stress as like an opportunity to build yourself, like when you go to the gym and you work out, you're stressing your muscles so that they get stronger. So if you maintain that kind of a positive attitude, you keep moving forward in a good way. So you've been given a gift here with this positive um, situation in the present. So carry that forward with you, and remember, I don't know if you know much about like the law of attraction, but the law of attraction basically says that whatever you focus on is what you tend to experience. It's what you tend to go through. And it's like a lot of people don't realize they want to avoid all these situations, so they're constantly fixated on those situations that they want to avoid. And it's like they're propelling themselves exactly the wrong direction, because they're focused on what they don't want instead of being focused on what they do want. And so the way to apply this in this situation is to be focused on how the things you're going through can be a positive thing for you. And that's kind of how you manifest it into existence, is you want to always be focused on the aspects of the situation that are a benefit. Always believe that the universe is conspiring in your benefit. That's just a good piece of advice for anybody. So how did that feel? Desire to be the best. You're so welcome. Thank you for the feedback. So the next in line was Talissa. Am I saying that right? Yeah, Grace, you sound a lot like I used to be. But I just, to be honest with you, the only reason it changed is because I kind of recognized that pessimism and being hard on yourself and all those things, it wasn't doing me any benefit. So once I recognized that, it was pretty easy to put it away. People really underestimate the power of a positive attitude. Really underestimate it. And I hope you have a wonderful night too. Very happy I was able to pull that wish card for you. I don't know. Is Talissa still here? Well, is D still here? Or Day? D? Sorry if I butcher your names, guys. Hmm. I guess not. I guess she's not. Oh, Talissa, there you are. Howdy, Midnight Meditations. General for Talissa. Which deck would you like? Okay. Yeah, I'll do a general for you. Do you have a preference on which deck? Or dealer's choice? Number 4. Okay. Heidi. Yeah, I got Talissa right now. Dia. Thank you for that. I think my chat might be a little bit delayed. So I'm sorry if I ask you multiple times the same question. Because sometimes I'm like asking the question and then waiting, and then it looks like I get answered twice. So I think that's just a little bit of lag. Oh, I guess that's enough. The deck said no more. So might be depending on like where the person is watching from or something. I'm not sure. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to do this general for you, Talissa. All right. Well, we'll put this like here. All right. This is an interesting one. So, current situation is this 9 of Wands. So, this guy has, he's been through some hardships. He is a little bit battle scarred, right? So, he's been damaged, right? He's been hurt in the past, but he's victorious. He's been through that, and you know he is brave on the other side of that because he has experienced this and he's a survivor, right? So that's the current situation. You've been through some things, but you have survived, and you are still a strong and fierce individual. You can be a little bit reserved. You can be a little bit less likely to jump into a situation because you kind of know the dangers that you can get into. But so what's crossing you or challenging you, influencing you, is this 5 of Wands. 5 of Wands is a kind of like a struggle of ideas. These people they're not like straight up at war. They're not trying to like kill each other, but there is a lot of like clash over, I want it this way and I want it this other way. So these people are battling to have their ideas prevail. And in the process, they're not trying to hurt each other really. And in the actual artwork, none of these wands are making any contact. So they're just kind of like sparring, they're just not really trying to destroy each other. It's just a little bit of a conflict of ideas that's going on here, or the best path forward. So this has been kind of influencing you. There's been some disagreements. What you're moving away from is this Queen of Coins in the reverse. Queen of Coins is a very nurturing energy. This one is typically a lot of times associated with like pregnancy or being a mother or that kind of thing. But now in the reverse here, it's a little bit more of in the context of a mother, like an overbearing mother or somebody who is a little too strict, or it could be like controlling, that kind of thing. But also somebody who is not making like the best financial decisions, right? So these are all energies that you're moving away from, and you're moving toward this Five of Swords, which is and it's in the reverse. So the Five of Swords is like something has occurred where you've had an argument and you've said some things that you kind of maybe regret in the long run. You've maybe hurt somebody and you didn't really mean to, but that's in the upright. Now in the reverse, it's like you realize that you've maybe been harsh or something, and you're moving away from, or you're moving toward the energy of making good and kind of like apologizing or whatever needs to happen to sort of make that situation better. You're kind of already in a spot where you're recognizing the need to make some peace. Now, the foundation of this situation, the subconscious here, you have the moon, and it's like there couldn't really be a card more associated with the subconscious. But I think what that means here in this case is that some of this difficulty, some of these struggles came from some unknown factors, some things that either you didn't know or the people who you were arguing with, they didn't really understand. So it caused some, there was some misunderstandings, and it caused possibly some arguments or something. And those arguments are not, probably not worth sacrificing the total relationship that you have with these people. It's really more of just like a pride thing, I think, at least on the side of one of these parties. So, the thing about the moon, though, is there's always like a darker and a lighter colored dog. So there's always benefits and sort of negatives that come out of the recognition of the subconscious, things that come just boiling up. And then there's always this little lobster here randomly that's just kind of, to me, it signifies how random things can be coming out of the subconscious or unexpected. And of course, there's other symbolism behind that. But to me, that is always a reminder that random things seem to come about. But through this situation, through the struggles, there's a saying that I always like to remember, that conflict at one level is health at another, right? So your body, inside your body, there's all kinds of little germs that are constantly at war with each other. They're constantly battling. And through that process, your body is healthy. And if there's an imbalance in your body, then you can get very sick. So it's like all these wars and things that are going on inside you are actually a happy homeostasis on some other level. So some good is coming out of this situation. If it's learning to stand up for yourself or learning to be able to navigate arguments and things like that with some good tactful energy, then that's a positive. That's something to carry forward. Now your mind is, or your crowning thoughts is on this Two of Wands. This is all about planning. This is visualizing what you're wanting for the future, thinking about it a lot. It's, all kinds of plans. It could be a situation for where you want to travel to some point soon. This person's often looking out over the deck and he's got a globe in his hand, so he's thinking about traveling. So that could be something on your mind, but just more in general, he's planning for the future. He's thinking about what he wants to accomplish, where he wants to go. And so that's been heavy on your mind, Advice for the current situation, a little bit odd for this to be in the advice, but there is the Seven of Swords here. Seven of Swords is like a feeling of like needing to get away with something, or being a little sneaky. So, in the advice, I hate to give you the advice that you need to be a little bit more sneaky. But sometimes the situation calls for that, right? So, there's two ways that I really want to take this for the advice card. Number one is sometimes not everybody needs to know everything, right? There's some things that are best left unsaid or kept from certain people, and here's the thing is, it takes some maturity and some experience to know when those things are appropriate and when they're not. So a lot of times we keep things from other people to our detriment, and without being honest, we just sort of suppress. And if we suppress, then that ends up doing damage to us. So there's a really, this is a hard lesson. Of all the cards represent various lessons in life, and that Seven of Swords I find to be a particularly tricky one, because it's like you definitely don't, you avoid a lot of nasty situations, and you just keep things more pleasant by simply selecting what you're going to reveal to people and what you're not in certain various situations. But at the same time, you don't want to enter into an attitude of suppressing or hiding things, because that's when it becomes harmful to you. So there's a delicate balance that needs to be found right there. And I think that, for your advice, that's probably would have prevented some of these arguments, these disagreements, is just kind of learning how to conceal what ought to be concealed from certain people. But also to cover your tracks a little bit better, because this guy has 5 swords, but he's left 2 behind. So there's that. So how does that feel to you? Does that kind of make sense to you? And Dia will be next. You're very welcome. Hope that gave you some insight. Kind of move this up a little bit. Dia, if you are still here, please go ahead and pick a deck. And also, would you like to choose your reading? We can do love readings, career readings, and general. Chrissy, absolutely. You may get a reading. I just have, let's see, I have Dia and Tamra, I believe. And guys, please jump in and tell me if I've missed anybody, but I think it's Dia and Tamra next. And then it will be Chrissy. Okay. Career. Okay. Deck 2. What's the question? And I have a career spread here, so. Will you be getting that job? So, with your question here, will you be getting that job? That's something that is going to depend. So, I'm going to do this career spread, and we'll see kind of what we get out of that. So, the way this spread works is, first of all, this is your supposedly your dream job, right? This is how you get there. This is your best qualities, what will help you, and what you need to focus on. Okay, now, one of my personal rules here is when I get all reverses, I will flip them all around to the upright. That's just one of my little things that I always do when I'm reading the cards. You can tell me that's wrong. I don't care. That's the way I do it. So, let's see what kind of insight we get to your question here. So, the 10 of Cups is your dream job. So, what this means is that your dream job is something that's like extremely emotionally fulfilling. So, in regards to whether you end up getting the job you applied for, what we really need to ask here is that job something that your heart's in? Is it something that you're really seeking? Okay, so this spread will help us to ask that question, because if it is something that is truly in your heart, then you're calling that experience to yourself, if that makes sense. So if it's not right for you, then the answer is like, no, you won't get that job. If this is an experience that you need, if this is something that your soul truly needs to experience, then you will. So your dream job here, this 10 of Cups, is something very emotionally fulfilling. In this picture here, there's like, there's a mom and a father, it looks like, with a new baby. So this is really, really good feelings. So you're going to want to do something that meshes with your soul really well. So I think what that's saying is, in the short term, going for jobs that just sort of pay the bills, but you kind of hate, is it's going to be a little bit more of a frustration to you. So it may be that if that's what you're going for, then the answer is kind of more likely to be no for you. How you get there is this 8 of Cups. And the 8 of Cups represents sort of like a little bit of withdrawal and letting go. So this can mean, in the context of this job here, not settling for what you're not really into, but to instead look for what truly serves you. This is kind of like, it has like a giving up type of energy. So the way that can kind of benefit you in this situation, and these cards are so big I can't even fit them all on here, but the way it benefits you in this situation is to help you not go for like the first thing that comes to mind, or the first thing that comes available. I know there's a lot of temptation to do that, but it may be more important for you to hold out for something that's actually worth your time, actually worth your while. Because I know if you're like me, you get into a job and you know that something better is out there, but once you have a job, then you don't really keep looking. You don't have that fire underneath you to keep you looking for a new job, and you just sort of settle with a situation that's not great. So, the universe wants great things for you. It does not want to pick on you. But a lot of times we stand in our own way too much, and we say, no, I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I need to have it now. And we end up settling for something we don't really like. Now, this card right here, your best qualities, this Ten of Pentacles. So Ten of Pentacles, very, very financially successful card. So your best qualities here, you're gonna be good with finances. You have the ability to manage finances successfully, and it's going to be something that you're going to be able to bring to your job, something that you're going to be able to show a potential employer, something that will give you an advantage over others. So there's some sort of a financial aspect of this where you're going to kind of stand up above the rest. It may be that you have more experience in a particular position dealing with finances that gives you a little bit more of a good look on the resume. So what helps you in this situation? Five of Cups. We have Five of Cups is, this person has spilled these 3 cups in front of him, but he still has these 2 behind him. He's not looking at the ones. Let me move that up where you can see it better. He's not looking at the ones that he still has up there. He's looking at the spilled cups. So what helps you in this situation is to not look at the failures, to not look at, or to get down or get frustrated without failures, but to instead focus on what you still have, what's still available, or what potential still exists, So that is going to be what helps you in this quest, in this situation. So you may run into some frustration, and that does say you may run into some frustration. Again, I don't want to outright say, no, you're not going to get that job, because again, it depends on you. And the reason for that is because, like, I fundamentally believe that we are all constantly sort of forming our own reality around us. It pours forth from the subconscious, and there's experiences that we're all here on earth to have. And you've signed up for those experiences long before you ever came here. But what calls that forth is your personal will, your personal subconscious, and all that. So to say, if I were to say, like, yes, you'll get that job, or no, you'll get that job, what I would be implying as a tarot reader would be that I control your future, and I don't control your future. You do. And so I'm never going to disempower people with my readings. I'm always going to put the ball back in your court and give you the opportunity to forge your own destiny, to the best of my ability. So what to focus on is this card right here. This is what you would do very well to focus on. The Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles kind of has 2 sides to it. There is a charitable giving, but then there's also the person who's receiving that charity. So this to you is an advice to look for a job in charity of some kind, like managing a charity or working for a charity or something like that. So you'd be surprised, right? You think charity and you think, oh, well, I'm not going to give all my money away. I don't want to do that. But you'd be really surprised. There are a lot of really well-paying, good-paying jobs in charity work. So not everybody who works for a charity is working for free. They have jobs, they have salaries, just like any other place. And there's often a lot of really good work in charity. The other half of this is, if waiting for your job, if waiting for your dream job means having to reach out and ask for help, help is available. There is somebody who's going to be willing to help you if you are honest with them about how you're feeling, about your confidence here. And, this could also just mean that some charitable help is on the way. And it might not even be somebody, something might come through very quickly here in the next couple weeks that is kind of a surprise that gives you the ability to continue looking for a job without as much stress. So look to what opportunities for health are available. Sorry, not health, help. Well, also look for health. That's good too. But look for what opportunities for help are available. But also take a look and see if there are any jobs in some kind of a charity, because I feel like that would help you in this dream job scenario. if you're able to devote yourself in your career to helping some other people in some kind of way, or even like animals or something like that, it may leave you a lot more emotionally fulfilled. So how does that feel for you? Is that pretty good? Thank you, Midnight. Yeah, that's a new one for me. I'm trying it out, but I like it. Awesome. Cool. Very cool. Yes, Tamara, would you like to choose a deck? So guys, I am going to have to cut the list off. So I'm going to get Tamara. I'm going to get Tamara, and then Chrissy was next. And then let me see who asked next real quick. Tamara, Chrissy, chocolate cookie, Paris, and then Pinkie Pie. And I'm going to have to cut it off there. I've got to... okay. Interesting. I went down that road for a little while, but got a little frustrated, so... Yes, and I'm going to be cutting the list off after Pinkie. Got to get to work in the morning, unfortunately. I say unfortunately. I need more positive self-talk. I'm grateful that I have a job. Very grateful. Yes, Chocolate. Yes. Chocolate. I just combined the names Chocolate Cookie into Chocolate. If you can't tell, I am getting a little tired. So, okay, we're on Tamara. Light Seers deck. Okay, I missed that. I'm sorry. Okay, the Light Seers deck. Oh, lady knows her decks. It is. I've cut the list off. Yeah. Wave to my beautiful wife. Hello.
Hi.
Woo. All right. Okay, so this we're gonna do this love reading, and hopefully we'll get your questions answered. So this is your role in the relationship, or you don't have to be in a relationship with this person, but this is the dynamic between you. This is you. This is them. This is past, present, and future. Yes, Chrissy, you are after Tamara. You're right after this. So, that doesn't look here. I want you to be able to see the cards. So your energy here is this Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is a smart person. She absolutely knows what she wants. She's not playing around. She doesn't play games really. She's more straight to the point. She has some life experience that's made her more honest, and capable. And so, this is saying that you're in a place where you're ready for something that's a little bit more solid and lasting. You're not in a place where it's just you're wanting some superficial thing that's just temporary. Now, your partner here is in this Nine of Pentacles place where they have some degree of financial success. They're not totally there yet. And who knows, you may be what is missing from that situation. But with the Nine of Pentacles, I always feel like there's this kind of like there's success, but then there's like this rest that comes with achieving that initial success. It's like with everything, you got to get momentum. So at first, whenever you're trying to start out on some project, it's like really, really hard to get it going. It's like you're pushing a large, like a huge ball or something, like a big stone boulder. And like when you first push, it takes everything you've got to get just a little bit of movement. But as the thing starts rolling and gets momentum, it gets easier and easier. And eventually you get to a point where you're forgetting about all the work, and you're kind of just taking a little bit of time to take it all in, to enjoy the rest, enjoy all that momentum that you have. And you get a little bit daydreamy, right? You get a little bit just feeling good. And this is very likely to be the kind of energy that brings this person into a more of a romantic mood, more of a romantic space in life. It's not the end of the journey for that career or anything like that, but it is definitely a good energy that kind of propels you, gives you some time to focus on some other things. It's like a break. You often get this in a person who has been very, very focused on career and success and everything, but now it's time to kind of like take a break and look at the other aspects of your life. So the past, and I try to frame this in a way where it's a past that brings you both together. It's something that's in common in your past. You have this King of Wands. That King of Wands is like a super, super determined, get it done type of person. This is not beating around the bush. You've both you've set a couple obstacles behind you right out the gate. So there's definitely some nice fresh energy here that is ripe with potential. And you're not going to have to worry about a lot of the nitpicky things that a lot of people do. So I feel like you've both been pretty good at preparing for the relationship instead of just kind of like jumping in really, really prematurely like most people do. Most people just kind of jump in and then they learn as they go. But I feel like you've both had a little bit more of an attention to getting your life straight ahead of time so that you don't bring all of your baggage and all the negative things into the relationship. And the current situation here, this Ten of Swords. So, okay, Ten of Swords, this is feeling like a little bit hopeless, or feeling like all is lost, that kind of thing, or just feeling like it's never going to happen, like the good part's never going to come. But there's always in this card an opportunity to sort of look to the horizon or to see that kind of light at the end of the tunnel. So this card always is asking you to maintain your focus on looking for that positive thing to come. So it may be really hard for you to see it sometimes, but if you just keep an eye out for it, if you keep that in mind, it will always crop up. So I kind of feel like this is going to happen maybe when you least expect it. If you're meeting this person for the first time, it's going to be probably not when you expected to, or in a situation like you expected, but it's going to be probably some very minor random thing. And there's always going to be, in any situation, no matter how much you're feeling like it's all's lost. There's always just a way for you to look for that light at the end of the tunnel. Well, not light at the end. Let's use a different metaphor, because that usually means that you're like dead. So it's not that. It's you know, the sun's going to rise tomorrow. Everything is going to happen in a way that leaves the door open for some positivity. So your future here is this Nine of Cups. Another hugely positive card with regards to emotions and love and all that. Nine of Cups is the wish card. And the wish card, you know, I'll instantly, when I see the wish card, I tell people, make a wish, because this is an indication that your heart is really in the right place, and you, the universe wants to grant you this wish. The universe wants to give you what you want, this emotional fulfillment. It's a really bright, wonderful energy. Happiness, you know, and that kind of thing. And it is always a message of hope. It's a message that there is something really, really good coming here. So that's the idea that I'm getting for your future here. So I don't know if this is specifically a guy who will be a Libra in February. I don't know if that's exactly what this is talking about, but I will tell you that it does look like there's a really good relationship on the way for you. And that's how I would put it. Now, you know, like I said, I don't know the timing. Maybe some people are better at this than me, but timing aside, there is definitely a really good relationship here on the way for you. And you've got a really good foundation to build off of. Okay. So next was... And guys, I'm sorry if you've just joined. I did have to cut the list off because I gotta go to work in the morning. It's already past my bedtime. So Chrissy is next. Thank you, Tamara. Let's see. Single Libra. Lots of single Libras out there. Go ahead and pick a deck for me, Chrissy. Chrissy, Chocolate, Paris, and Pinky. Okay, we'll do a love reading for you, Chrissy. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you for watching. And if you weren't added to the list, I am sorry, but you know, I do this pretty often, so just keep an eye out. Subscribe, and you should get a notification if I come on live. Also, I recommend I do daily readings, pick a card readings, and I have been told that they are fairly accurate. So you may be able to get some of your questions answered there. Also do monthly readings for each star sign that are a little bit more in depth. So this one is for Chrissy, and we're going to do a love reading for you. And keep in mind, like I said, I talk about your partner. This is, if you're not in a relationship, this is your prospective partner. This is what's coming for you. Okay. So 10 of coins is you, your prospective partner. You're very welcome, Midnight. Happy to help any fellow reader when I can. Now, past is this Judgment, in the reverse. Then we have the Nine of Cups, another wish card. Wow, we're having some really good juju for the love readings here. Really good juju. And I'm so happy for you guys that that is happening. I hate giving bad news, right? Never had a boyfriend. Okay. All right. So for you, this situation here is this 10 of coins. So 10 of coins is typically like it's very much involved with the material success, financial success, career, that type of thing. But in the reverse here, it's an indication that you're kind of like moving on from being obsessed with career and success. And you kind of realize that there's more to life than just money, that there is definitely something else that would kind of make your heart sing, so to speak. So it is, it's an indication that your heart is. I mean, almost always this gets rewarded. This is a very, it's a hard to find energy because it's like this society that we live in. I feel like I just said this a little bit earlier today, but this society that we live in pushes everybody to seek after more, 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 more. I got to get all the stuff. I got to have all the money. And it's because capitalism kind of works that way. It has to have a constant driving after new things to get the whole gears running. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's kind of rare to see this energy, but this energy says, well, hey, I don't need the nicest house. I don't need the nicest car. If I get by and I don't have to spend my life working, then I'm going to be quite a bit happier anyway. There was an old parable about I think it was like some Native American woman, I believe it was, who asked somebody like somebody asked her, why does she spend so much effort like chopping the wood and making the fire when she could just go get a work or go get a job, go get a work, get a job and have somebody do it for her? And she's like, why would I go work all day just to not have to chop wood and start a fire? So there's different ways of looking at it, but in any way, you are not so obsessed with that aspect of it, and you're moving toward looking at different ways to get more emotionally fulfilled. Oh, it's a love reading. It's a love reading. This is just kind of like where you're at. Now, your partner here is this is the Ace of Coins. So Ace of Coins represents like a new opportunity within the physical or financial dimension. Now, being that this is a love reading, you're very right. This probably means that there's like some new physical things for you to experience with this person. That's where the way I'm taking it. So there's a new opportunity for you, and I think also this is probably going to be the same for him too. There's this kind of new thing that's happening between both of you. So it may be that you're running into somebody who's never had a girlfriend either, for your next potential partner. Now, what you have for the past here is this Judgment in the reverse. So this is, Judgment usually is like letting the old pass away and, feeling like everything can come to light, that, everything's finished. But this is in the reverse here. So it's a little bit more of a resistance to that energy. It's kind of like hanging on, not wanting things to kind of stop. So it could be that you've held on to the past a little bit, but not really so much the past. It's like you were holding on to a way of life, that things were a certain way and it was kind of good that way. And you didn't really want it to pass away and to move on to the sort of next phase in your life. That Nine of Cups here, again, this is for the present. This is that wish card. So your head's in the right spot. You're doing the right thing. Your heart is in the right spot. And so you're being rewarded with this, where basically whatever your wish is has a very, very high potential for being granted in this situation. So It's merely like it's the universe rewards you for love, really. I mean, you know, you hear it's kind of a cliche that like everything is love and all you need is love and all this stuff, but it really is sort of the glue that holds the fabric of reality together in a way. And so once you're able to reflect that love in the proper way, it's almost like your greatest wishes just get granted. Um, there was an old saying that like one of these days somebody is going to return the love that you've given away so freely, you know. So that's what you can look forward to here is that wish card. It's happening for you. There is definitely a good energy within your emotional or relationship life. Now, what's in the future here is this Five of Wands, which is kind of a argumentative energy. So, you know, what this is telling me is that this next relationship here, um, you know, it may not be your last relationship, but in you're going to learn some things here. You're going to learn how to argue, how to have disagreements, how to not have the not how to not be completely on the same page with a person and how to get on the same page. So there's a lot of things that you're going to need to learn through this next relationship. So you know, try not to think of this coming relationship as like the end all be all or that it has to be perfect, because that's going to make it a lot harder for it to be a great relationship. What you're really looking for is how does this constitute like the next step, and how do you learn from this? How do you develop as a person through this relationship? And that's kind of what I have for your future. So good spot. It's not, you know, argumentation is a part of every relationship for the most part. I mean, there's some, I'm going to call them freaks. There's some freaks out there that never have an argument. I don't know. I don't believe they're human. I think they're aliens. But anyway, yeah, for the most part, relationships, even between friends, you know, have some disagreements, some arguments. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that you have to learn how to deal with in a positive and healthy way. So it's looking bright for you. It looks like you have a tremendous opportunity here. So I'm happy for you. How'd that feel for you? Yes, Monica, I'm sorry. I have had a list going, but it has gotten a little too late and I had to cut it off. But if you want, I do have daily readings and very detailed general readings, monthly readings on my channel that can probably help answer some of your questions and probably in a little bit more detail. But also check back. I do these things. I do these things all the time, these live readings. So I think next was, let me see, I can't remember. Chocolate cookie. Well, Chrissy, I would just, okay, light seers. I would advise you to, instead of thinking that life is out to get you. Oh, how do you like that? A visit from the kitty. She said, it's bedtime, Daddy. You're supposed to go cuddle with me. Every night she cuddles up. She likes to sleep on my chest. And she knows it's bedtime. So many people are familiar with this Light Seers deck. Glad I got that one. It's very hip. Contemporary. Yes, chocolate cookie, Paris, and Pinky. And thank you so much for being patient. Yes, it is beautiful. It is. My favorite deck is this Joie de Vivre by Paulina Cassidy. It was just my first one, and it's got a lot of symbolism in it, which I really love because I like to have lots of input. But the artwork is so joyful. Okay, so we're doing for chocolate a love reading, right? How does Kirk view me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do a love reading for you. This is your role, your energy, their energy, and past, present, and future. Okay, so let me move these so you can see. We're almost there, guys. So your energy here is this hermit. So there's some, and you asked how does he view you. So I'm particularly going to frame this in a perspective of how you appear, right? So you may not feel this way. So if you don't really feel this way, then take that to mean that's kind of how he's looking at you. So the hermit is obviously a little bit isolated, but this is not a person who's like lonely or closed off. This is a person who is somewhat happy with their isolation. You can call it like a homebody, somebody who is, listening to music, lighting candles, enjoying that alone time, being at home. And it's generally a fairly positive energy. I would say sometimes it's almost intoxicating. And I'm noting how the hermit here, this looks a lot like a lighthouse, something that's sort of beckoning. So it may be that this is very much an energy that this person is attracted to. His energy here is this Page of Cups in the reverse. So Page of Cups, I love it. This particular card is like one of my favorite in this deck because of that little flying pig right there in the corner there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little flying pig. And so it's really cool to me to think of it as like this person is sitting here imagining that pigs might be able to fly. So very optimistic, hopeful energy. Sometimes it almost even seems like naive or childlike energy. But in the reverse, this is a little bit more pessimistic, right? It's a little bit more of a resistance to feeling like good things can happen. It could be feeling like your heart's going to be broken, or it could be that this person is afraid that you might reject them, afraid that you might not feel the way about them that they do. That, you know what I'm saying? It's too late. I can't do those tongue twisters. But anyway, they may be afraid you're not going to return the feeling. So what you have in the past here is this sun energy. And that is, it's sun generally is like knowledge and being out in the open and having a lot of warm feelings of, everything being right, knowledge. I'm not really seeing how this is going to be applicable to you both in the past, but there was a time in which everything was kind of, I guess, simpler, and you knew what you wanted, and and things were not quite so chaotic. And you were happy, I guess, alone too, because it's like she's in the field here dancing all alone, and she's really happy. So there was a time when that was enough, and maybe you're kind of moving away from that, and you're more of thirsting for that kind of companionship. It's not feeling quite as bright as it used to. And so actually something's coming through here. So, specifically talking about brightness with the sun. When you're first born and when you're a child, the future looks so bright. Everything about the future looks bright. It's all possibility. It's all like the best could happen. And at varying rates, depending on how much hardships we go through, we start to feel like the future is a little bit dimmer every day. And so, um, some of us kind of come to the conclusion that, like, wow, if that trend continues, it's going to be a really dark time, on down the road, later in life. And so you start to seek out, how am I going to brighten that up? Or at the very least, whose hand am I going to hold in that darkness? So that is definitely something that leads you to seeking a relationship like that in the first place. So that actually does make quite a bit of sense for what's going on here. Now, the Queen of Cups in the reverse for your present situation here, that can be so. Normally, upright, the Queen of Cups has a good command of her emotions. She's got, she. It's not that she doesn't feel emotions, but she has the ability to harness them, to feel them fully, and not overreact or anything like that, but to release those emotional states too. So she flows with it pretty well. But when it's upside down like this, it's kind of cool in this deck. It almost looks like the water is over her head. She's like dunked down into it. So it's like being overwhelmed with emotion a little bit. Or it can be, emotional exhaustion too. But a lot of times it's just like a tendency to burst out, to let stress get to you a little, that kind of thing. So this could be, again, I'm kind of coming at this more from his perspective because of your question. So this could be what he's feeling. He could be a little bit stressed right now, and he might need a little bit of comfort. That might be why he's attracted to this sort of hermit energy that you're giving off. And then the future card here is this Eight of Wands in the reverse. So Eight of Wands is typically like something happening, action. But in the reverse, it's like a delay of action, or kind of like waiting for something to happen. It's not really happening. So this being the future card is, I think it's an indication that you're probably going to have to like make some pretty strong signals yourself. And I'm also seeing that with this looking like a lighthouse. So you're probably going to have to make something happen, instead of just kind of waiting for it. Because waiting for it in the future here, it's probably not gonna. So yeah, there's a need for you to inject some action to the situation instead of just sort of waiting for it. And I don't know, this could be a like a younger, less matured person, because the page is often a very young individual, whereas the hermit, that's definitely a more matured energy. So it could be that they need you to hold their hand a little bit. So I don't know if that's something that you find attractive or not, but I hope you do, because it looks like it's a good situation for that. But anyway, I think that pretty much covers it. How did that feel for you? Awesome. Awesome. Glad to have read for you. Pile number 4. Oops. Pile number 4. Yeah, I think it lags for some people. Oh, we are almost there. It is just Paris and then Pinky. And then I have to hit the hay. But please like and subscribe if you have enjoyed. And who knows, maybe with your help, I'll be successful enough to just do this all day. One of these days. I would do it. I would not go to work. I would just do this all day. Dr. Shiny no like work. Thank you very much. I'm happy you're enjoying it. So, we're going to do the love reading for you. So, this is your role. This is his role. And then we got past, present, and future. Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay, so can you see all these cards here? Let me change it here. Okay. So what you bring into the relationship is this can be a little bit of like argumentativeness or, struggling or, if not argumentative, it could be that you are challenging this person. So, you have some ideas and some things. Oh, you're not in a relationship. So, yeah. So you have some challenges. Well, you don't have to be in a relationship. It's just this is the person and this is the other person that you have in mind. And this is the dynamic between you. I don't know if I said that earlier, but yeah, you don't have to be in a relationship. So you bring this this challenging, kind of more argumentative side into the equation. Not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. This is more of just you're not afraid to sort of challenge the situation, to work through things, to to call things like they are. And so that's going to naturally lead into more of a, and the thing is like, I'm a person who likes to argue, right? So for me, the way that I express love is definitely through argumentation somewhat. And a big part of that is just family. Like my family, we will just yell at each other. And we, at the end of the conversation, we don't think any less of each other. It's just, that's the way we communicate. We get argumentative, and we like to talk about, politics and all kinds of things like that. And we get heated, our blood boils. So it's a good, it can be a good thing. The problem is when you like let it get too far, or you get some kind of animosity going or something like that. So it's this is the kind of energy that you'll bring to the relationship, where there's going to probably be some things that the person does that is annoying to you, and you may call them out on it, and there could be some friction there. But friction is you challenge him to speak up. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, there's that as well. So yeah, so the thing about arguments is that if you're challenging him to speak up, it means that like he's got something inside him that is in a sort of like a disagreement with what you're presenting, and so he's like, well, wait a minute, now I need to speak up about that. So that's a possible way to interpret that for sure. But the energy that he brings here is this Page of Wands. This Page of Wands is, they're a bright, bright-eyed, bushy-tail, wants to try new things, wants to do or get involved in some project. They have a lot of ambition and optimism about things, but they're a little bit immature about it, so they don't necessarily have all of the gumption to get things done. So it may be that you need to support that person in order to, encourage him to have more self-confidence and to to assert himself a little bit, because that page of wands is sometimes like definitely optimistic, wants to set out to do things, but they can also have this kind of naive energy where they think that the world owes them something, or that they, if they just put in the work, things will work out. But a lot of times that's not really the case. You have to be strategic, you have to be assertive, you have to kind of I don't want to say manipulate, because it's got such a negative connotation, but you have to work people a little bit to get what you deserve, or to be successful. And so I think that that's kind of I see this as a positive relationship. I know this kind of has like a negative connotation with it, with argumentation, but again, I don't see that as a negative. I see it as you're injecting a little bit of fire into this situation, and that's passion. That's going to be effective, and it's going to help you both grow. Now, what we see in the past is this Empress. So Empress, very, very nurturing. A lot of times this is involved with pregnancy, but it's, a very nurturing, mother-like influence, loving, caring, and very feminine. So, this could be. I'm seeing a couple ways that this could apply. It's kind of vague, but this could be like maybe a close relationship with his mother that he had, or you as well might have had a close relationship. It could apply to both of you or either, but a close relationship with the mother, which maybe left him a little sheltered, or like feeling like others would take care of him. And this could be, it's pretty common. I think I kind of had that growing up a little too, but that can lead you to having a little less confidence than you should have, because you just you're not conditioned to assert yourself. You're not conditioned to take what's yours. You just kind of like, you get it. So it's, what's the incentive? So you may be helping him to kind of move past that, to sort of sever the tie with the mother, and become more of a man. So the present is this Death in the reverse. Death card is not, it's not physical death. It's not like a bad omen. It's people get terrified. I see it in memes all the time. Like a cat pulls a card and it's the death card, and they're like, "Oh!" But it's not. It's not a bad omen, and it's in the reverse here. So what that really means is kind of a refusal or a resistance to come into a new form of life or a new perspective. It's to resist that, is to just kind of want things to be the same. So, if this person did rely a lot on their mother, if we're going to continue with that theme, it could be, well, my mom always did my laundry and I don't want to do my laundry. But bring in this, you need to do your laundry. So there's that little bit of a resistance to change, a little bit of resistance to growing and going through those natural cycles in life of maturation. That's what death is really about. It's about maturing, Now, what you have for the future here is this Queen of Wands in the reverse. So Queen of Wands, she wants to accomplish some things that she doesn't necessarily have some time to accomplish. So it could mean that you're taking on a project here. You're taking on a little bit of something that is going to detract from your overall success or goals, that doesn't mean that you're going to end up unfulfilled or unhappy. It just means that you're probably going to have to divide a little bit of your efforts in some way to this situation. It's she's very much a caretaker. There's often a cat in the picture, and a sunflower and all this. She's a caretaker. She's very action oriented. She's a doer. She does things. But in the reverse here, it's like a little bit of resistance to that, not getting everything quite done, and wanting to. It's like being a little stretched too thin. I would kind of compare the meaning of this card in the reverse to like the 10 of Wands, which is a little bit of feeling over encumbered. So I think that what's going to happen here is that you're possibly going to feel like this is a little bit of a chore. I don't think that's like a death knell for it or anything like that. I just think it's going to maybe cause you a little frustration. So it may be helpful just to kind of acknowledge that going into it, if this is somebody that you're seriously interested in, and all of the other aspects that he brings to the table are worth it for you. Then just be aware that it's going to take some work. It's going to take you having to do more to avoid being frustrated, and that could just mean like I said, like dishes and laundry and things like that. Yeah. So okay. So wondering if you should. That's some input there at like, yeah, it's probably somebody who is good. It's got the potential to be a good relationship. Just know what you're getting into. Know that it's not going to be just like all an equitable relationship there in every aspect. There's going to be some areas where you're going to have to baby him a little bit, and on the contrary, there's probably some areas also that are a big benefit. There's always pros and cons. So what's going to be the answer is like, if you should accept, is can you find the benefits that outweigh those drawbacks? So how does that feel? Oh boy. So we are on the last reading. Again, if I did not get to you this time, please check the channel for some of the daily readings and my longer general readings. Got a lot of good information in there. The daily readings are pick a cards. Okay, Pinkie Pie. Would you like to pick a deck, please? Number 5. Thank you so much for being patient. We finally made it. Oh boy. This deck is the hardest one to shuffle because these are like cardboard, thick cards. We'll just have to do it like this. So we have one jump out there. That's fine. We'll keep that one. Oh, we got another one jumping. If they're going to jump, we're going to keep them. So another love reading we have here. So, all right. So, in this love spread, I don't know if I said it before, but I'm going to remind you this time. I'm speaking about this in terms of a relationship between you and this other person. However, that relationship is not necessarily there yet. It could be your future relationship. So just keep that in mind. All right. Now, earlier, I don't know if you were listening, but if all of the cards are in the reverse, I do a flipperoo. Okay. That's just my rule. That's my rule every time. What I have found is that, and it's just through trial and error and through doing thousands of readings, when they all show up in the reverse, it makes a ton more sense if I just flip everything around to the positive. And I don't know, it's been that way, so that's my rule. So the situation for you is this Nine of Wands. So the Nine of Wands is this person has been through some tough times. They've been through some hardships. So you have been through some hard times. You've been through some things that have left you possibly feeling like a little damaged, a little scarred, but still brave, still like willing to tackle new things, willing to enter into new situations, but you're more careful now. You're more reserved, not jumping in quite so quickly because you do know that there is danger involved, because you have learned those lessons in the school of hard knocks, right? The life lessons have taught you that. So what we have for him is this King of Wands. Pretty cool, pretty good energy. King of Wands knows exactly what he wants. He knows how to get it. He's extremely action oriented. He's a strong a doer. He doesn't hesitate quite so much. He's really good at it. So this is, and I don't remember if you said you were in a relationship with him or not, but this is not, a couple of these readings I've said that the person would very likely have to make the move first. This isn't so much that situation. This is a person who knows exactly what he wants. He knows what he's gonna come after, and he's more assertive. So the Ace of Swords here is the past. This is like a new idea. So it could be that let me think here for a second. So the Ace of Swords, being a new idea, could be that there's something here that possibly one or the other of you didn't consider. So it may be that you've known each other before or something like that, but it wasn't in so much of a romantic context, or it could be that like you were in a relationship before and so they didn't even think about it, but it is like a new possibility now. There's a new dimension for you to think about each other in. So, I think that what's going to benefit you if you're interested in a relationship with this person is kind of revealing that new version of yourself in some kind of way. So if you have an opportunity to make yourself up and make yourself look good and show yourself off, and recreate the image of yourself in that person's mind, by making some sort of a change or a gesture or something like that, that's probably going to benefit you here. But in whatever way, there's just this new idea. Now, on the other hand, this is kind of already in the past. So maybe that's already happened. Maybe they have kind of already seen you in that new sort of way. But if not, the way to usher that new energy forward is to sort of reframe the relationship in a new way. Now, the current energy, the present, is this Tower. Tower involves like having misplaced faith in institutions. So, you know, there's a couple ways I kind of feel that I would like to take that. Number one, marriage is an institution that comes to mind when I see the Tower a lot of times. So there could be like a lack of faith in the institution of marriage here, or feeling like reservations about it, or not, wanting to go there quite so far, or not wanting to go quite that far this early on. So, I guess the advice for that would be to not focus on that quite so much at this time. It's not saying it's not in the cards. It's not saying that it's not going to happen, but it's to say that that may not be what this person is focused on at the current time being. So you might not want to kind of like focus on it from that perspective so much. You may want to more just like to be in the moment, you know what I mean? To not look at where things are going, not to have so much faith in defining a relationship, because I don't know, it could just be that this person is not really attracted to that type of a relationship. They want something that moves a little bit more organically and fluidly. It doesn't mean that they necessarily like don't want to get married. And in fact, what I see in the future here is this Empress, very, very motherly energy. So it seems like, children are certainly in that future. I would take that as a strong indicator, but it's, that nurturing mother-like energy is down the road. So it doesn't, to me, suggest that like marriage doesn't happen or something. It's just really more of like what could be a sort of barrier between the energy, or the attraction, might be the fear that this is, what that means at this current time. So, don't worry about that part of it so much. Let what happens. If this person is somebody you're seeking, if you want that to work out, don't worry about where it ends up so much, and kind of just focus on how do you navigate the situation in the present. But like I said, with that Empress in the future, it's a good indication that things do get more involved. So how does that answer your question? Seem pretty accurate? Resonates. Good. Awesome. You're very welcome. I'm happy it resonated. So thank everybody for watching, or thank you everybody for watching. And I am sorry, I do have to get to bed. I'm very sorry. But please check in soon. I will be doing this again. I do it pretty frequently. So if you subscribe, you'll get a notification when I'm online, and you can come back on and ask a question. But like I said, if you are looking for guidance in the short term, I do daily readings. And so there is already a reading up for tomorrow. There's a reading up for today. There's a reading up for yesterday and all the days before. So definitely check out those daily readings to get you some advice for like smaller things. Bigger things, look at my general readings for each star sign. Whatever your astrological sign is, you can get a pretty in-depth, detailed general reading for that once a month. But other than that, thanks again. And it's been a a pleasure to read for you all. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'll see you guys next time. And good night. I'm coming.